right, let's just get a crack on here. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Happy Valentine's Day. My name is Colin A. Borden, and you may not know our names, but chances are you've seen our work in a short viral video emailed to you in times of stress, or one that popped up on your social feed, maybe right when you needed it most. Titles of these videos include things like Rich Mom Humiliates Poor Mom, What Happens Next is Shocking, or Gold Digger Shames Poor Guy at a Bar and Lives to Regret It. The non-canonical videos, ranging from 5 to 30 minutes, cover myriad topics and genres, but all seek to teach easily digestible life lessons like never judge a book by its cover, or what's done in the dark always comes to the light. And that is our intention today, to bring to light what has otherwise been shrouded in the dark, to explain our motivations and set certain records straight. When I first started working on Dhar Mann in 2019, he was a fledgling motivational speaker with a landing page on Facebook. His main gig was as the owner of a company called Live Glam, but this side hustle of self-help videos was starting to take off. Dhar Mann Productions was a small operation. Aside from a growing company of committed regular actors, including those with me today, the team consisted of only 3 young people. Dhar wrote the scripts, Ruben shot and edited the videos, and John coordinated cast and ran the sound. No one had ever stepped foot on a professional set and were visibly stretched thin and learning on the job, but they were also motivated and excited by the work. And we shared their excitement. As actors, the work was paid, the short films actually came out, and above all else, people watched them. This is the holy grail of the working actor. True, we were sometimes only contacted for a part the day before the camera rolled. We brought our own wardrobe, we did our own makeup, shot at night when the Live Glam office was empty, and these guys had evidently never heard of craft service or lunch. But the punk rock atmosphere alongside good people fueled joy and made unprofessional headaches admissible. In short, it was really fun. Soon, with the help of face and brand recognition, the videos began growing in viewership at an exponential rate, and a move from Facebook to YouTube as home base solidified Dhar's presence as a bona fide content creator with millions of dollars tumbling in from ad revenue. In 2019, the studio was a 3-man team operating from an apartment in downtown. By 2022, there were 3 sound stages in Burbank with upwards of 25 standing sets, a rented home for location work, and an international workforce of 100 employees. Dhar still wrote many of the scripts, but John had moved on, and Ruben was no longer on set, but now, without any previous management or professional motion picture experience, promoted to the head of production. As the actors who have been with the channel since its inception, we felt pride and excitement with the growth. It was thrilling to shoot on our new sets. We felt ownership over everything from the parking lot to the t-shirt sales. We had helped build it all. New directors were hired and crews were expanded to 5 experienced team members. It was time for the next chapter, and the enthusiasm was palpable. Yes, the craft service selection was shaky at best. Yes, we still brought our own wardrobe and did our own makeup. We were still paid off the books through PayPal, and together with the experienced crews, we had concerns over safety and hours and communication. But the company was growing quickly. These things would be sorted out when the dust settled and when there was time. But instead, in that time, our scrappy band of misfit producers had turned to a cloistered group of suits. The friends who booked us became a faceless team in the Philippines. Dhar popped by the studio for the occasional video cameo, but otherwise worked from home, and the doors between the stage and Ruben's office were literally locked to us. This is where things started to get uncomfortable. Familiar faces from the cast and crew began disappearing. They had a meeting with Ruben, would be the explanation. They had, at some point, asked for something or highlighted an otherwise standardized motion picture operation that was unacceptable by the inexperienced management team, and if a crew member, they were fired. If a cast member, they were never asked back. This was common knowledge amongst the cast and crew and engendered a culture of fear. If you ask for the wrong thing, you will be asked to leave, removed from the chat, as the crew says. Meanwhile, a secondary channel was created to shoot behind-the-scenes footage that included interviews, scripted comments, and improvisational games. It was expected that we were to appear in front of and perform for the behind-the-scenes channel, a channel that would also go on to garner its own millions of subscribers and views for the price of our already scheduled hourly wage. That is 2 videos, 2 channels, 1 paycheck. To deny one meant that you were not a team player and would not be invited back. Overall, the crews have grown, the sets have grown, the prestige of the channels has grown, our commercials even offer the tagline, "It's not Netflix, it's Dhar. This is no longer an indie operation, yet the actor's position has remained the same. The videos with our faces have brought the company tens of millions of subscribers, views, and dollars in revenue, but we have no security in our positions. Shoots are moved or canceled without recourse. We may go months without an invitation to perform. We sign individual video contracts with the understanding that we are booked for a 5-day shoot at a fairly comfortable hourly rate, yet, despite having turned down other work or moved important life commitments to perform in the job we love, we may ultimately receive a final schedule for a fraction of that initial offer without compensation for holding. There are no considerations for residuals or buyouts, as is customary in a professional entertainment company, for the repeated use of our labor to simply cover our time between shoots." Following an uncomfortable event organized by the company in which the stars of the channel were invited to openly mingle with fans at a premiere for our film, an unpaid work event for which we were not afforded a +1, reimbursement for parking, a proper seat to watch the film, or even a free bottle of water, with lax to non-existent security, it was becoming more and more obvious that change would not come on its own. Discussions between actors turned from months of backstage comments and commiseration to earnest meetings towards the end of 2022. There was worry amongst the cast that anyone who spoke out would be fired from their episode and or not asked back again. Again, this is the holy grail of acting. Paid, seen, beloved, and at this point, tenfold from when we started. A hard gig to give up. But the meetings progressed between the actors, and a safety in numbers mentality was reached. We would ask for a meeting with Dhar to discuss the current state of the workplace, and the number and, importantly, names of the cast in these discussions would remain anonymous, save 2 elected representatives throughout the negotiation process to protect what little job security we had. On Friday, January 13th, a letter drafted by a collection of actors and signed by the 2 actor representatives, Chaz Laughlin and myself, was sent to Dhar's company email address, and a hard copy was delivered to the office. We intentionally sent both a hard and digital copy to ensure Dhar received the letter. We intentionally CC'd the heads of production on the email as a final check, assuming they would forward the letter to Dhar, or, at the very least, loop him in on its existence. Our letter was forwarded, but not to Dhar. Instead, the response came from the HR department. On Monday, January 16th, yes, this was a holiday, but the office and the shooting crews were all very much at work that day. In fact, we knew ahead of time. I replied on Tuesday, apologizing that the email was sent to my spam folder, and reiterated that we would like to meet with Dhar and Ruben to be there in attendance. And on a side note, my verbiage has been called to point on this, but my mama raised me right, and I was merely being polite. On Friday, I had to follow up to ask for the date of the meeting. The same day reply came for us to meet on January 25th, and by that afternoon, all parties had confirmed 3 p.m. on the 25th. On the 23rd, the meeting was moved by HR to the 26th at 3. 2 days later, the meeting was again moved by HR to January 26th at noon. Chaz and I were in attendance, along with Ruben Ortiz, the head of production, and Janessa Rubalcaba, the head of HR. Dhar was not in attendance. Before any words beyond salutations and niceties were exchanged, we asked Dhar if he would be joining us. We asked if Dhar would be joining us as requested. We were told that he had a scheduling conflict and was, at the last minute, unable to attend. At no point were we told that Dhar does not have these sort of meetings, nor that Dhar was unaware of the meeting. We explained that our letter was sent to Dhar specifically, that we were clear in our request for his presence from the beginning, and that while we appreciated the time being made, our conversation was supposed to be with Dhar. We were asked to explain the purpose of the meeting and to voice our concerns, but we pointedly declined. We explained that we had felt disrespected and left out of the conversation for some time, and that our past concerns were possibly not getting through to the studio's lead producer. We wanted a meeting with Dhar Mann, the person who signs our contracts, our boss, the name on the channel. Directly following the meeting, we sent an email thanking Ruben and Janessa for making the time and space to meet with us, and asked to have the impending meeting with Dhar on the books by Tuesday. The weekend came and went without response. And one day, ultrasound. The weekend came and went without response. On Monday, we checked in and were told they were discussing internally and we would hear back by the end of the week. We politely waited, despite our plea for a speedy resolution. On Saturday, February 4th, we were told there would be no meeting. Our opportunity was given and squandered as far as they were concerned, and all future issues should be submitted to HR in writing. Had Dhar said no? Had Dhar even gotten the letter? Was he aware we had desires to meet with him to discuss the working conditions at the company we mutually loved? To be frank, as stated, we had felt left out of the conversation for years, and we wanted our voices to be heard. So on Monday, February 6th, the protests began. As a collective, with whichever actors were able to, given their comfort and or second job commitments, we organized outside of Dhar Mann Studios and began our peaceful protest. We held signs and made noise. We wanted our meeting. If Dhar had been unaware of the meeting request before, he was aware now. And we know this because Dhar Mann's personal bodyguard arrived at the studio within the first hour of the protest. The bodyguard, not the body. At this point, it could have been easy for Dhar, for anyone from the management team certainly, to talk to us, but they did not. We protested for about 2 hours, posted videos on our social media accounts to broaden our message, and went home. In that time, our message went viral. Other actors, emboldened, spoke out on their own social media accounts with their own issues. Former employees from cast and crew reached out to us individually to share their concerns and experiences. Fans and influencers alike drew their own conclusions, and, in line with the times we live in, speculations, opinions, and videos flowed. But our earnest mission remained the same from the jump. A simple meeting with our boss had been denied. We wanted that meeting. On Tuesday, we returned. So did Dhar's bodyguard, but still no Dhar. By hour two of our peaceful protest, the Burbank Police Department arrived. It was evidently easier for the studio to phone the police on a lawful protest than to do the simple kindness of speaking with the men and women who represent this brand. We ended the second day of protesting only to hear that our colleagues, Michael Vaccaro and Jessica Ruth Bell, received emails from the bookings team informing them that they were no longer needed on their episodes, and an evident retaliation against them for exercising their First Amendment rights. Co-workers occasionally disagree. This is human. Couples have disagreements. Friends have disagreements. The best of them are able to reconcile those disagreements, and if you don't believe me, I know a few videos you can watch on the subject. But the relationship we have cultivated at Dhar Mann Studios over years was severed in one swift motion, seemingly irreconcilable. Why the choice was made to allow things to escalate, to force the pitting of fan against channel and actor against actor, instead of just having the conversation, we may never know, but that was the choice of Dhar Mann and his team. And in the end, we won, guys! Yesterday, Dhar Mann himself met with a small contingency of actors who have publicly professed their loyalty to the man, the company, and their current practices. Promises were made at that meeting that changes were coming, and this is, from the beginning, all that we wanted, all that we have asked for. We stepped outside, risking it all so that those inside could thrive. Hopefully, we have shone a light on certain mistreatments and patterns of behavior from not just our former studio, but given voice and legitimacy to the burgeoning problems inherent to the unchecked frontier of scripted new media content. It is an unfortunate end, certainly, that we should lose our future employment with the company only to reach the same outcome. But we were confident and assured that change would come to the studio thanks entirely to a meeting with Dhar Mann and the actors who built this brand, and so it has. So our work here is done. In the meantime, we will continue to do what we love. Act and create. So keep an eye out for us, because I guarantee you really great things are coming in the future. We thank the fans for their support and understanding in what has become an all too public discourse. Thank you all for your time, and now we are happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Did you get what you wanted then? It sounds... I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or...
We're being a little sarcastic. What we wanted was a meeting between Dhar Mann and the actors.
Yeah.
We were ousted. Other actors received the meeting in lieu of us.
Which is better than nothing, so we are happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Have any of the actors who attended the meeting contacted any of you individually?
No. I think that would be quite bold.
So if you were to sit down with Dhar, what would you ask for? Are there certain things you really, you want higher pay, you want...
There are certain elements of the way that the studio is run at this point that we would like to meet a professional standard. We understand that it's not necessarily SAG minimums. We understand that it's not an IATSE show. But there are just basic elements to running a motion picture company that are not being met. So yes, pay is included in that. Hours are included in that. Simple fringe things like craft service and
medic on set.
A medic on set.
Medic on the studio
We deal with
site.
a lot of children on our set, you know, and we just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable and safe.
Buyouts would be nice, if not residuals. Yeah.
These are all the things that we had all written out and were ready to sit down and discuss with him. We had all these things written out and we knew exactly what we wanted and what we were going to say.
The assumption was that we would get a meeting with our boss. That's not a big ask.
Yeah.
We thought that perhaps negotiations may go south and we may at some point end up on the street, as we did. But the fact that we didn't even get that initial meeting is what's really surprising to us. Shocking, in fact, to borrow a phrase.
But you guys are done with Dhar, or Dhar is done with you, I guess. Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine working with him again would be any sort of enjoyable experience, even if we got all of our demands. I can't imagine that I would feel respected at all. That would be simply unacceptable for me.
It does feel very much like the reason. It feels like the reason that he had the meeting with the actors who are still loyal to the studio and have been very public about that was more of a save-face tactic as opposed to a genuine want and concern for the actors that are a huge part of his brand.
Yeah, and some of those actors are folks that were commiserating with us and came to meetings and had discussions with us. So they are also interested in change. It was, again, just easier for them to send us into the fray and reap the benefits. So it's good for them.
But once again, like you said, fear is a strong emotion, and this is kind of the holy grail of jobs for a lot of actors. So, you know, it's a little, something is better than nothing, I think, is what a lot of people feel. And there's a dog eating something over there.
Okay?
But yeah, so we understand why some people stayed. That, I think, was just not going to be acceptable for us any further if we didn't get the change that we had requested or wanted to even be able to request. So.
I would like a formal apology from him.
I would argue that when we say we're done, I mean by that I am done trying to personally get anything for myself when it comes to protesting this situation. I recognize I have quit. I'm not doing this for my own benefit. I am doing this for a moral obligation, which is to stand up for the people that don't have the exposure that we have. The money is a gray area. I recognize that. But this is where our industry is headed. Like, more people have, this is a generalization, but I'd argue more people have seen YouTube videos than they've seen any one streaming platform's videos. So if you have the money to create equity level projects, you need to be held to equity level standards. And this is, for me personally, I'm done with my own agenda and how I can benefit or not benefit from Dhar Mann. That is what it is. But this is about highlighting why we need union protection in social media spaces. And YouTube and Dhar Mann is a great example of that. I don't think this man is evil. I think he's become complacent in a system that needs to be addressed because it is incredibly underdeveloped and it is where our industry is headed.
To Dylan's point, yeah, I think it would be great to see some sort of legislative actions taken by the state of California, or perhaps at least some sort of rules and guidelines given from the social media platforms that we operate on and gives out hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in ad revenue every year. That's what I would like to see from this point on.
Can you guys unionize, or, I mean, is that an option or not?
Well, SAG-AFTRA has new media clauses that is supposed to be helping us. These clauses are clearly not being practiced. So at this point, my agenda, why I'm continuing to talk about this, is to just bring awareness for behalf of the film crews, for behalf of the production, for behalf of people that are now working on budgets that are union worthy, that aren't getting treated as such, that don't have the protection of union rules.
Yeah, again, possibly, probably not for us, but yes, for everybody else, SAG-AFTRA should move in, I think.
So, I mean, is it fair to say you've all been told you're done with Dhar Mann Productions, or?
I specifically, I think of all of us, I'm the only one who actually got a letter saying goodbye, Michael Vaccaro.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
You. So the rest of you just left out of protest?
quit.
Well, it's the nature of the contract work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just don't have to offer us another contract, obviously, and that's what makes it tougher to unionize as well.
Yeah.
My last shoot was postponed indefinitely. I was supposed to begin shooting on Friday. They postponed it, and then that Saturday they let us know that there was not going to be a meeting.
Yeah.
So who can say?
Has there ever been a question of changing the formatting of your work into where you could be considered as a salary worker instead of a contract, considering how long you guys have been a part of Dhar?
That was something that we were open to talking about. Like
This was on the list of things to talk about in this meeting. Yes.
Yeah, once again, like in meeting with your boss, you don't go in there making demands. You say, hey, we're not happy with this. We were thinking we could maybe try this new system out. What do you think? Well, I'll meet you here. It's a negotiation, but that was something that would definitely have been on the table for us. And then that would have been nice because then we would have known that we were going to have work each month. Because sometimes you're booked all month or most of it, and then once again you won't hear from them for a little while. But you want to be made available in case that shoot does come up when they're looking for you. So
They were aware, very much aware, that certain faces, we've been calling them thumbnail faces that show up on the channel, are faces that people want to see. They tune into the videos for certain people, certain faces. Even if they don't know their names necessarily, there's a comfort to this sort of non-canonical video format that they developed, and people like that and look for that, and they're aware of that, but they didn't want to have a conversation about how we could all mutually benefit from that, from building up this world and having more guaranteed work. There's no security in what we do, which is true of being actors, but any other show that works at this level would have a regular cast of actors, would be able to take care of their actors with this much ad revenue, with this many views. We do get more views than a regular streaming show, potentially more than some network shows at this point.
Yeah, and I want to just sort of reiterate that people, in fact, were tuning in for us specifically. I've been there since the beginning of 2020.
2019.
2019.
2019.
I'm the most recent.
So, but the point is, people would see, this is why we call ours thumbnail faces, because people would see that and they would tune in. And those videos got particularly high numbers.
Do you see like an irony or hypocrisy when it comes to the, I guess the material that they put out is positive based and based on morals and things like that? Is there?
Yes.
you couldn't write this as a better comedy, honestly.
It's almost as if he lives one of his own scripts. That's what it feels like. What's happening here, unfolding.
He still, right now, on his Instagram page, his personal Instagram page, has a thumbnail of his face, and the text says, "Own your mistakes." So I don't think we need to do anything for him. He's doing it for himself.
Michael played the villain, a terrible principal in one video where teachers were protesting for better conditions, better pay. And at the end, the evil principal realizes his mistakes and sits down and has a meeting with the teachers. So this is, yes.
Treating people with
This
respect.
is an actual video.
Yeah, treating people with respect is his brand.
Yeah. If you're gonna profit, I'm not saying you need to, be the embodiment of it, but if you're gonna profit off of these morals, you need to at least give the people that are working underneath them the respect of what you're preaching.
In short, to answer your question, yes.
Yeah.
It is
Loaded.
very ironic.
How much money are we talking about? Like, I mean, do you have any idea how much he brings in, or the company brings in?
We don't have the exact figures.
I know that YouTube is producing billionaires, and I know that as far as what I was able to find on a internet surface, he has over $115 million in wealth. That's what I have found to be public information.
There's been a lot of growth with the studio as well, considering that you guys started originally in an apartment, correct? And now there are 3 sound stages. Correct me on
Right.
that?
Yes.
3 sound stages, 100 employees. It went from 3 to 100 employees. That's
And it's been
substantial.
rapid growth. He continues to expand. Until any of this was brought up, it just kept expanding more and more and more and more, and everything else seemed to stay stagnant.
What can you do about videos that are going to be posted in the future that include you guys? During your protesting time, we actually saw videos of Mayor, where a video that you had done a while back, apologies, was being posted like hours after the protest. Is there anything that can be done as far as crediting or anything like that for you guys?
No, see, and that's part of the issue is, you get paid for your day of work and then that's it. And that video lives on and it continues to generate money, like
And
a lot.
They recut the videos and put them into new packages and repost the videos for an additional 1 million views.
So I won't see anything from that and I can't do anything about it. That was part of why we wanted to have a conversation.
And just to give you a sense of scope and scale of how many views on a slow month, ThatGirlMair will have 270 million views, because it's not just the new videos that come out, it is the backlog of content that is constantly getting views over time.
They're evergreen videos,
Right.
so yeah, they can be constantly shared.
Yes, and
You
I
were
would
up
say
to,
a low ball
is it
number,
40 billion views?
something. It's an
Something
absurd
like
amount of
40
views,
billion
billions of
right.
views. And I would say a low ball number, if you look on, there's a website called Social Blade that specifically has analytics that break these things down. Because of the length, and I also know the retention rate was quite high, they're pulling in no less. This would be probably a very conservative number. It could be a wide range. The lowest I've ever seen someone make from 1 million views is $4,000. He's probably at least more in the $8,000 to $12,000 per million views. That is a rough estimate. I obviously don't have those analytics in front of me. I would say that's a safe number. And when you do that times 270, that's a slow month, mind you. He's done billion views in a month, easy, and that's one platform. So he's repackaging these across Facebook, getting even more absurd views. I have views on there with 300 million views, hundreds of millions of views. So it is wildly popular. The overhead on maintaining it is zero, because obviously social media, you don't have to pay them. I mean, they take their chunk of the ad revenue.
And I would love to encourage people to compare those numbers to any other show's numbers.
Right. It's quite popular.
He is saying that he is offering us again, my agenda isn't about money, but for the people that do deserve fair treatment, that do deserve exposure, that don't have the platform to stand up for themselves. If you're going to say that's competitive pay in a non-union space, then I think that speaks for itself.
I think you're comparing yourself to the wrong competitors.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Walmart comparing themselves to a mom and pop shop. Not on the same scale.
Can each of you just walk up to the mic, say and spell your name, just so I get it all right?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Oh, well, Colin A. Borden, Colina, no period after the A, Borden, Borden.
My name is Dylan J. Harris, DYLANJHARRIS.
I'm Mair Mulroney, M-A-I-R, last name M-U-L-R-O-N-E-Y.
My name is Michael Vaccaro, V-A-C-C-A-R-O.
Right.
My name is Chaz Laughlin, CHASLAUGHLIN.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. And thank you guys for tuning in.
I got a couple. I got those two. And,
Well, that live just got 1.5 million likes.
I shot on wide angle. Oh, hi, Rob. Hey.
Oh, wow, there's 4,000 people in here right now. Wait, don't end it. Why are you going to end it? We're going to do this. Let's talk to the people. Wait, maybe they have
Make some
questions.
comments.
Oh,
Ask,
sorry.
see if
I was
people have
about to
questions.
end it.
No, I'm sure they got questions for us. Call them.
Hi, guys.
What's up, you lovely people?
Thank you all for reaching out and watching and being with us. So,
I'm sorry that we have to be the face of a lot of voices that can't speak for themselves. I really am.
yeah, we are happy and hopeful that there will be change moving forward. So, time will tell. But thank you guys for all of your support during this time, because there were a lot of really stressful days and nights. So thank you guys.
We're old, bro. How do you put the phone out?
Do you want to talk to anybody here?
Do I want to what? Yeah, I can talk to people.
The
Actually, hold on, Mayor.
it's
I want to say. Oh, actually, it's fine. I'll talk to them afterwards. I'm just gonna give them a thank you. But yeah, what's up, guys? Thank you for showing up. Wow, a cat thing. This is cool. 1.6 million likes. This is insane. This is
so much.
holy.
Thank you. I thank you for letting us have this here. A lot.
Wow.
Really
I've never seen this many likes on a video, on a live. This is absurd, guys. You guys are crazy. I knew I should have live streamed this one.
Thank you, guys. If you guys have any questions, I think that Colin really summed it up really, really well. I couldn't say it better myself, which is why Colin spoke for us. So, thank you. We have to take some pictures and stuff. So you guys, if you feel like continuing to watch, go for it. We're just gonna jump in and take some pics for a bit.
The West Hollywood Times.
Yay!
Here we go.